rags to riches. Ooh, can't see. Damn sun's in my eyes. Mic check, mic check. Good morning from Hawaii. 8 o'clock in the morning. Over here. I gotta tell you, it's not how I thought I'd be starting my day off. I was debating on if I was gonna come on today and do like a little NC State talk, preview that game, and then boom, bombshell drops. Well, some people it's a bombshell, to some people it's not. Obviously you guys saw by the title, you saw by the thumbnail. Everybody's favorite quarterback has decided to hit the portal. The way I look at it, well, first of all, let's hold on a little bit. I'll hold on a little bit. I'm driving. Let more people fill up, and then we'll do a roll call. You know how we do here on 86370 TV. It's your boy POLK, a.k.a. a.k.a. the goddamn truth. And Chubba Purdy has decided, first reported from 247, and if I'm not mistaken, they also are reporting the reason for the transfer is a lack of playing time. I have a little bit to say about that. Purdy has decided to hit the portal. Mike's number one his hand-picked quarterback when he took the job, 1 year into his tenure, has decided to hit the portal. I think you can try to shake that any way you want. It's not a very good look for anybody involved, in my opinion. What I do find funny is everybody who all of a sudden thinks the same people who were saying Purdy sucked and we should move on seem to be the same people who are now making this out to be a big deal. Oh, this is terrible. As if it's a way to, of course, the same people who were rooting. Okay, I'm back. It's like nobody calls me until I freaking get on my phone, and then the world wants to call my phone. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm back. But as I was saying, hold on, let's Let me fix my thing. Let's do a roll call real quick. Brandon B, Zozuki, Sammy, Don, Ardavius, Raymond, Yella, No Power, FSU, Tony, Sammy, Till Dog, Chris Busby, and OG Kane are the few that's in here, locked in and loaded. But yeah, man, Purdy's in the portal, and 247 is reporting a lack of playing time is one of the reasons why he's looking to transfer. Don't know if it's the only reason, but that is the reason, or the reason they pointed out. My thing is, like, you rehabbed a shoulder injury for a damn near year. How much playing time did you think you were gonna get with no spring? You weren't even in Tallahassee this spring. You rehabbed on your own time and your own at your parents' house or wherever you were during the spring and the entire summer. You didn't get to campus till the fall. And Chubba Purdy, I don't know. I feel some type of way about that. Now, I was one of the people that was vouching for Chubba. I was one of the people that was telling people, hey, we don't give up on Chubba Purdy so soon. Right? When a lot of people were calling for, hey, a lot of people were actually calling for this to happen. I do find, I think that's a little interesting. A lot of people were calling for Chubba to transfer out. I find it a little interesting that those same people that wanted him gone, now seem to think that this is the worst thing in the world. But it's all about narratives and agendas, right? So I get it. And to be honest with you, in a way, I understand Chubba Purdy, and in a way, I don't. Because Tony says something interesting. He says he's watching TVD go off in the same class, and he was a higher ranked prospect. I understand that. I also understand he's watching a guy in Jordan Travis that I believe Purdy probably thinks he's more talented than. I believe that. I believe Purdy's probably sitting there saying, bro, I'm more talented than this dude. He's a great runner, but I can do some things with my arm that Travis can't do. I believe that. Here's the problem. You got to be available for practice, right? That's kind of been the thing. Purdy hasn't been available all off season, except for the fall. But the fall is what, 4 weeks? 4 weeks compared to what? April, May, June, July, August. 5 or 6 months, whatever it was. So I don't know if you guys are commenting or not, because I don't see any comments right now. So if you are commenting, I can't see them, just so you guys know. Just so you guys know. Let me see if I comment. Can I see my own comment? I can see old comments. I can't even see my comment. So if you guys are commenting, I can't see. Like I said, I can't even see my comment. Whoops. I might leave and come back in. I don't know if that's gonna work or not though. Oh well. I'll check out some of these older comments. But yeah, Chris Busby says it's not a big deal and he should leave. You know, comments like that, I just can't get behind. It's a big deal if for no other reason. Now you only have 3 scholarship QBs. One's not going to be here next year. You're literally going to enter next year with 2 scholarship QBs. So they have to land like there's no way A.J. Duffy can now decommit, right? And so even with the addition of A.J. Duffy, you enter next season with only 3 scholarship quarterbacks. So this notion that it's not a big deal is one I cannot get behind. If for nothing else, you need young talent to be able to develop in your quarterback room. Right? So it is a big deal. A.J. Duffy's not a surefire thing. A.J. Duffy ain't even signed his letter of intent yet. So anything can happen between now and that time. And again, it's not like A.J. Duffy's a generational or transcendent type talent. I think he's a good prospect. I think he's one of the better quarterback prospects Florida State has signed in a long time. But he has to sign. And then even if he is one of the better prospects that they've signed in a while, guess what? We don't know how he translates to the college game. He might need a year. He might need to sit 2 years. Does anybody have faith in Rodemaker? Rodemaker's still on the roster, but we've seen Rodemaker be, I don't know, poor would be an understatement if we're talking about Rodemaker. I'm going to refresh this page. So if I cut out, I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Yeah, see, that's why I had to refresh the page. I was missing a ton of comments, guys. You guys were taking a ton of comments, and I couldn't see them. That's why I had to refresh. I'm hoping y'all could at least did y'all at least hear me? Now I see the comments now. So I had to refresh and come back in. So I'm gonna start reading some comments. But looks like I'm back. All right. So let's see. Sammy says, so do we get someone from the portal? At this, I originally said no. Remember, I was like, no, we don't need no one from the portal. You're gonna enter next year with Travis, Purdy, Duffy, and Rodemaker. I think 4 scholarship QBs is a good quarterback room. Now I think you might want to look at the portal. You're talking about the 5-star who transferred out of Tennessee. Don't know how realistic that is. Maybe. I don't know if that's really a realistic thing though. It is a big deal. Thank you, Mayan. I was shocked when I heard that Chubba was leaving. Plus, he's seeing Jeff Sims go up and down, and that was the guy he was signed to replace when he flipped. No way it is, because playing time, because he had a real shot I agree, Sammy. I'm just saying what 247 was reporting because I agree with you. I feel like he was in a perfect situation this year with Travis and Milton. We didn't have to rush Purdy. Purdy could take this year to get 100% healthy and then learn everything. Remember last year he was more focused on rehabbing this shoulder. A shoulder injury bothered him the entire year. Got hurt in the off season of the COVID year, so we didn't get to see him initially. Then he played a little bit, re-injured it, and had to rehab at the end of the year going into this year. So the notion that it was a playing time thing to me is a bit stupid when one, you haven't been healthy, and two, you were in a perfect position to come in next year and take over. So maybe it's more than that, but that's what was being reported. I don't see much from him to be devastated by the news. It's not about what you see from him, though. See, again, this notion that this isn't a big deal is it's not about what you see from him. We've only seen a little bit of him. Let's say Chubba Purdy's trash. Okay, he's trash, whatever. We only got 3 scholarship quarterbacks. One's leaving. We legitimately entered the year with 2 legit scholarship quarterbacks because you don't know what's going to happen with Duffy. And even if Duffy does sign, which I think he's going to sign, he says he's signing in the early signing period, being an early enrollee. I 100% believe him. Have no reason to doubt the young man. Is Duffy going to be ready year one? Is he that type of year one guy? Jameis didn't play year one. And we can go on a list of quarterbacks that don't play year one but turn out to be very good college quarterbacks. Not everybody's a year one guy. So you still kind of enter the year with 2 guys that you can depend on in the quarterback room. It's a big deal, if nothing else, for numbers. Development. Injuries messed him up, broke his collarbone, freshman campaign, messed his shoulder up, doing keg stands. Had it not been for that, Chubba might be our starting quarterback as we speak. Milton is the backup now, then the Rodemaker. Did we have a chance? Did he have a chance when JT has 2 years left and Duffy coming? Yeah, he had a chance. Of course he had a chance. Half of y'all don't even like Jordan Travis. Half of y'all don't even like Jordan Travis. Hell, I'm not the biggest Jordan Travis guy. I think he's the best option we have right now. But I talk all the time about how limited he is in the passing game. And because he's limited in the passing game, he limits our offense. Very dynamic with his legs. He's getting better with his decision making. Hopefully, we get another year of growth from JT, and maybe I don't think he's ever going to be the passer people want him to be. But can he be, I don't know, Jalen Hurts next year? Maybe. Maybe he can be something like that in college. It's possible. But half of y'all, and I'll include myself in it, don't even like JT. So if you didn't think Chubba was gonna get a legit shot next year, I don't think the staff likes Jordan Travis all that much. If we're being honest, we've got 2 full seasons to see that. Last year last year Jordan Travis was last on the depth chart. If Purdy would have been healthy, he was their last option in the Jacksonville State game last year. This year they were looking for the first reason to pull him. They started him, give him credit for naming him the starter. But they looked for the first reason to pull him and put Milton in, and they've shuffled back and forth. The staff doesn't have 100% confidence in Travis. Purdy was going to get a legit shot. Exactly, Kusami. He didn't get on campus until late summer because he was rehabbing. I think that last part is 100% true. I think he feels he's better than Travis. Chubba was definitely the most talented QB on the roster, had a bigger bag. Purdy is a better passer than Travis, but he wasn't here. He's definitely better than JT, just didn't get a real shot. I kind of hope we do at this point because another year with JT starting won't be good. I agree. I can't stand Happy Feet. So you think Duffy comes in as QB1? Honestly, Duffy probably won't be ready as a true freshman. We need experienced QB. George Runs JV staff. What up, Firewater? Hold on, chat jumped on me a little bit, y'all. Remember, I'm catching up because I couldn't even read chats for the first 10 minutes of coming on. Purdy hitting the portal mid-season makes no sense. Just bounce before the year. Nothing to be situation change. We should have been taking a portal guy regardless. Maybe even two now. I disagreed with that personally, but now I think you got to take one. Something had to happen behind the scenes. I don't believe it was playing time. And to be honest, AJ Duffy, the first 4 or 5-ish games, I've seen him miss a lot of throws. Then he will hit 1 a game, 2 at most. That's the highlight you see on Twitter. Armonte says you should have played him. A veteran quarterback for the portal. Chubba wasn't anything special. You guys just want anything other than Jordan Travis. I don't think anyone's saying he was something special. I'm saying, I can't speak for anybody else, but number-wise, this is a bad deal. Number-wise, it's not good. Development-wise, it's not good. Whether you hate Jordan Travis or not, you can't. I don't think you can deny the limitations of the offense. I don't know why we and I get it, because as a fan, I get attached to certain players too. Like, we all have our favorite guys. Jordan Travis has kind of become a favorite, I think, just because he can win a few games. And because he can win a few games, the fan base is blinded instead of saying, well, he's not what we need, but he's just what we have at this point. As a player, you practicing every day and know you better than the guy playing, and you have the real shot to play, you get discouraged and probably get tired of practicing with no benefit. I think out of the few QBs in the portal, I want Miles Brennan. Though the portal's not, first of all, Brennan's the highest rated guy, I think, in the portal right now. But if you think this portal situation is done, it's not done by a long shot. It would be interesting to see who else enters. If Chubba was so good, we wouldn't have went out and got Milton last year. The guy hasn't shown us anything. Bro. Best abilities available. That is true, Isaac. I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. This staff doesn't really like him. They settled on him. That's a fact. Dang, bro. Well, then Duffy going to play as a freshman regardless because Travis usually gets hurt. But to be fair, I think, Travis had a year. Excuse me. I think he missed a game because of injury this year. I think. He's been relatively healthy this year. And if you watch his running style, he's been a lot smarter with running and getting down. Look, Travis is your starter next year. I don't know. Maybe Rodemaker makes strides. Who knows? The 6th ranked QB in the nation wasn't nothing special. Some of y'all are delusional. I'll keep it real. Travis ain't for the long. I've been saying that. Y'all know I've been saying that. That's just me. That's just me. I've been saying Travis is, and I've conceded that he should start for the rest of the year, and I conceded that in this situation he gives us our best chance. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's pretty common knowledge that he's not a long-term situation here, or shouldn't be. But at this point, he kind of is, right? He's a what is Travis? Jordan Travis is like a 4-year sophomore, so he could literally play 7 years in college if he wanted to at this point. I believe he's still a sophomore. Would be a junior if it wasn't for the COVID year. So he's like a 4-year sophomore. So in reality, this guy's been on a college program, 2 different college programs for 4 years. The truth of the matter is, for all you Jordan Travis lovers and fans, and again, I'm not a fan. I like him, but I'm just being honest. But, Travis is what he is at this point. He is what he is. There's not going to be some magic development with Jordan Travis where he turns into freaking Lamar Jackson or, I don't know, name that quarterback, Baker Mayfield. Travis is what he is. He's been in college 4 years. By the time he graduates, if he stays the rest of his he'll be in college 7 years. He's already capped. He's most likely already capped. Believe it. You can believe it now. Next offseason, you're going to hear all the beat writers talking about how much he's progressed in his passing game. The truth is the man's capped. Jordan Travis is what he is at this point. That's just the facts. Anytime a QB transfers, it's a big deal because of numbers alone. It's different than any other position, regardless of what you think of Purdy on the field. Thank you, Firewater. Hear me out. Miles Brennan comes to FSU. He torches. Okay, I mean, one, are they even interested in him? Two, do you worry that if you bring in a guy like that guy's only a freshman. He'll be a freshman, a redshirt freshman, whatever. That guy was just in last year's recruiting class. Do you worry about A.J. Duffy? Does Brennan even want to consider Florida State because of an A.J. Duffy? I mean, why is Brennan leaving Tennessee as a 5-star quarterback? Like, there's a lot of things there. I know he's the big name, but I just wouldn't get your hopes up on that. A lot of times when these kids transfer like this, they're going to end up at schools that they have some other ties to, whether they're closer to home or an old coach is over there, something like that. I don't. Brennan doesn't really have any connections to Florida State for me to think that's even possible. Get ready for Tate to be sold as much, improved. They're going to sell both of them. They're going to sell Tate and Travis in the spring. Watch. The same way they sold Travis us this shit. Same way they sold Travis us this spring. We'll see what Chubba does and where he goes. I'll be interested and I'll pay attention. Well, we lost him too. So I don't know where he ends up, but we lost him too. Maybe he goes to Louisville. That would be interesting. Chubba should have been the starter if healthy, but he does really know the offense missing as much time. That's the problem, Nicholas. I think, all injuries aside, I think Purdy probably is your starter by now. But you can't miss as much time as he missed and think that, I don't know why he just didn't take this year to get 100% healthy. He was going to come in next year. I'm not saying he was going to flat out win the job, but his chances would have been very, very good. Thank you, Kusami. There's no magical development that's going to happen with JT at this point. He's already been in college 4 years. He is what he is at this point. Don't know where this football program is headed, man. Georgia, trying to be positive, You try to be positive, but then something like this happens and you don't even know really how to diagnose it. Is this a failure of the coaching staff? Is this just a kid making a personal decision? There's a lot of ways to look at it and diagnose it. I don't want to be too critical of the staff per se, but this is what I said this at the beginning, and I put this on Twitter, and I'll say it again. Regardless of what you think of Purdy, it's not a good look for this staff when your hand-picked guy, the first quarterback you took when you got this job, the quarterback that you took and told another quarterback who was already committed here to walk, quote unquote. I'm not saying that's exactly what he says, because Jeff Sims confirmed that they never told him to walk, but you get what I'm saying. You preferred this kid to other kids that were already committed, and not only 1 year into the program, that young man has decided to leave Your program that, and you invested in him. You told him he was going to come in and be the truth. So it's not a good look for the staff, regardless of who's at fault. Whether you think he should be getting playing time, whether it's Purdy's fault for not rehabbing correctly the first time he was injured, and all the rumored partying he was doing in the offseason instead of rehabbing, right? It's a lot of different layers and you can place blame on. At the end of the day, it boils down to, it's not a good look for Mike and Kenny Dillingham that your handpicked guy is leaving without us ever really getting to see what he had. I could see if Purdy had got a few starts and he just wasn't the guy, and they went back to Travis and he decided, you know what, I had an opportunity, I couldn't cut it, I'm gonna transfer out and go with somewhere else. But we never even really got to see what Purdy was capable of, and he's decided to go. Like every program goes through its QB roller coaster as well, not in the UTF issue. Of course, it's not unique. We're just in a situation where we don't have a lot of, we haven't had good quarterback recruiting for really since Jimbo Fisher's last few years. Firewater. That's the issue. It's not that it's unique to Florida State. Is if you go back, Jimbo Fisher's last two QB recruits were James Blackman and Bailey Hockman. Hockman transferred out. We know what happened with Black. Willie didn't recruit one. And his two recruiting cycles he got, right? Or whatever. He had two. Yeah, we had Black, Hockman. Then we went 2 years without a quarterback recruit. Then Willie gets fired mid-second year or whatever. Mike comes in and he gets two quarterbacks. Well, now one of those quarterbacks is gone, and we didn't recruit one last year. We brought in a red shirt. We brought in a senior transfer who's not going to benefit us any at all going forward. So that's why this situation is a little bit exacerbated. The great transfer portal will provide. That's true. Ohio State has a room full of four-star. Could guarantee at least one of them transfer. Numbers games don't work for kids anymore. They won't wait. Good coaching staff and messaging or not. It's a bad look for Mike. I agree. I've been watching this a little over a year now. Some of y'all come in here with a thank you. I'm glad somebody called it out. I try not to. Well, actually, I usually call them out when I see it, but you see it. A month ago, everybody said, oh, Purdy should leave. Now we're in here a month later, and some people believe that Purdy, this is a big deal. Look, it is what it is. I've always told people, don't give up on Purdy yet. Why are we giving up on Purdy yet? Like, I had a whole spiel on this channel saying, why are we so quick to give up on Chubba Purdy? Some people are consistent. Some people are inconsistent. It is what it is. Well, Geno is probably legitimately in the rotation at this point. Look, like, you got Travis, you still got McKenzie, and you got Rodemaker. Travis, again, injuries hasn't been that big of a deal this year. But anything can happen when you got a guy who runs as much as he does. Milton has not been considered 100% all year. You know, just bad leg situation there. And we know what we kind of got in Rodemaker. We might see who knows? Anything can happen. What program has good QB recruiting right now? Like, no issues. I understand the talent issue at FSU, but I feel like what Jimbo was doing then is already from a past era. What program? I want to answer that first question. What program has good QB recruiting right now? We look at what Ohio State's been doing recruiting. Oklahoma is recruits them. Hell, Bama has turned into sort of a QB factory over there. So, yeah. Now, I just named some of the schools that are usually in the playoff every year, but you know, you at least got to recruit them, even if I've always been the type of person like you always, in my opinion, you need to resign a quarterback every class, even if that quarterback is a James Blackman or Bailey Hockman type. Now, granted, you want to have something above him so that you can ease those guys in. Even if it's a project player, quote unquote, at quarterback, which is why I was so big on Mike when he came in. He took a high-ranked quarterback in Chubba, but he also took a Tate Rodemaker who could have been a sleeper. He could have been a Jim. He could have been he was that project that he had all the measurables, and if he pans out, you just found something. So that was always my deal. I still believe that you should do that. So maybe instead of taking a transfer guy, they go back and start to try to recruit another QB. I would do that. You have AJ Duffy, who's more of your legit prospect. Look at a Chad Moscow at a Kissimmee. He was heavily favored for Florida State when Taggart was here. Obviously, not so much now, but see if he'd be interested. Again, project quarterback. You got to fill out. You got to get talent in there, man, and some talent that you can develop. Man, what do you think about Henry Ruggs? One bad decision can end it. No power. I don't want to waste too much time on Henry Ruggs. Obviously, but I'm gonna say this: I feel bad for the victims. I feel bad for his family, but I feel no sympathy for an individual who. I don't feel sympathy for drunk drivers. I have a deep detest of drunk drivers. Granted, we've all been young and we've all done stupid stuff. Don't get me wrong. I'm not on some moral high ground to say that we all haven't been young and done stupid stuff, but it's 2021. There's such, this isn't when I was, this isn't 2010 or even 2007 when I was super young. This is 2021 and they got things called Uber and Lyft, and he's a multi-millionaire. And when you even look into details, he was going 156 miles an hour. I don't feel any sympathy for him. And hopefully he gets all the time. Somebody lost his life because of an idiotic decision. I hope he gets all the time in the world. Polk knows I love Purdy for a minute and devastated. Man, that rug situation is so sad. I had to stop reading about it. Henry Ruggs. Yeah. I don't want Emory Jones. If we might as well let Jordan Travis be our quarterback. Emory Jones can't freaking throw. Have we not watched Emory Jones? No, I'll stick with Trap over Emory Jones. Oklahoma QB Spencer Rattler was billed Heisman fave and number one pick each season. Had a bad first couple of games. Now the guy Caleb is looking like what? Right, exactly. The guy Oklahoma's a perfect example because not too many teams are in a position where their Heisman fave QB can be bad and then the backup actually be better. Like imagine Sam Howell being so bad that North Carolina couldn't even start him. North Carolina be screwed. They got nothing behind them. But Oklahoma's, one of those QB factories. Then I look up Caleb, and he's one of OU's highest rated recruits in the modern era, along with Spencer. They got Heisman potential on the bench at schools like OU, Bama, and OSU. You're not wrong, bro. I just don't think QB transferring is much of a knock on coaching. I do get what you're saying because I agree with you. QBs today don't sit and wait. They want to go play. And with the 7-on-7 game and all of that, quarterbacks get a lot more coaching exposure and learn how to read defense a little better in high school, that they come in more ready to play in the college game. I do agree with you. That overall quarterback transferring isn't necessarily a knock on coaching or the staff. But the problem is Chubba was it's a little exacerbated because of the lack of talent in Florida State's quarterback room. And Chubba was handpicked Chubba was supposed to be Mike's guy. You know what I'm saying? Chubba was supposed to be Mike's guy. Chubba decommitted from Louisville at the last minute to come play for Mike and Kenny at Florida State. That, again, that's never a good look. And yeah, and then we didn't get Altmaier last year. I agree. Jordan Travis and Emory Jones is the same thing. The only difference is Emory Jones is a little bit bigger of a kid, so he doesn't get the injuries that Travis gets. He can run a little harder, but yeah, they're the same thing. One's just bigger. We all know we have plenty of options after the end of the year in the portal right now. My favorite is Miles, but that could change. Let go Purdy, next man up. That's a problem, DF. There's no next man up. That's the problem. Y'all are just, and I know DF, you come in here and you say off the wall stuff on purpose. But that's the problem. There is no next man up. Who's the next man up in the quarterback room? That's the problem. It's not like we got a deep quarterback room where Purdy can leave and we got Luke Altmaier sitting in the wings. If we had signed Luke Altmaier, I'd be right here with you saying, man, Purdy's not a big loss. We signed Luke Altmaier last year. We got A.J. Duffy coming in this year. I'd be right there with you. There's no next man up. 22 will be the year. I think by the end, unless 22 goes sour early, I think by the end of 22, we'll know if Mike gets another year. By 22, he's going to be 3 years in. I don't know how long his initial contract was, for 4 or 5. But 22 will be a make or break year for him. This season's not over. If you can still finish strong, who knows what happens. But he's going to have very little by way of excuses in 2022. And with no Purdy to start that season, I don't know how it really looks, if I'm being honest. Let's not act like Chubba didn't have chances to start FSU over Jordan and James. Chubba in the situation put in third on. I don't know if his injuries didn't give him a chance. Now, that's not something that he can control, at least not the first injury. Now, there's conflicting reports on his when he re-injured himself and how that happened. And, the way he rehabilitated himself after the second injury. If you don't know that rumors, reports, however you want to take them, he re-injured his shoulder doing keg stands in the off season. Now, I hate to criticize a kid for being a kid and having fun in college, but I also think, again, this is 2021. This isn't 1999. The college game, the landscape has changed. These kids should know that this is all big money and big business. College athletics isn't looked at how it was looked at 10 years ago. Chubba Purdy did not make a smart business decision by re-injuring his shoulder. He just didn't. And I don't excuse, because these young kids aren't dumb. We tend to give these young kids a pass, these young men. We tend to give them a pass and say, well, he's only 18, he's only 19. He doesn't know any better. Bull. These kids aren't dumb. These kids go on a million recruiting trips. They see everything around them. They're aware of all the side tactics and bag dropping, as we say. These kids aren't dumb. These kids aren't dumb anymore. They're not as naive as maybe they were 10, 15, 20 years ago. And even then, but definitely with all the information at the touch of a screen that every kid now has, a phone, and all the social, these kids aren't dumb. Chubba Purdy made a mistake in terms of re-injuring that shoulder by being a kid. Got it. But you look at the kids who are becoming superstars, the Trevor Lawrences and the go on and name them. Are those kids doing those same type of antics? You got to make business decisions, is what I'm saying. And I know it's like, well, you got to let these kids be kids. Well, guess what? Those who end up becoming great, they ended up sacrificing their childhood to become great. The Floyd Mayweathers, his childhood consisted of him boxing since he was 4 years old. The greats sacrifice a lot to become great. Tiger Woods, yeah, there's like documentaries on Tiger Woods golfing since he was the Serena. There's about to be a movie about the Williams sisters, Serena and Venus, and you're gonna see how as a child they were. Greatness means sacrifice as kids, unfortunately. That's why not everybody becomes great. I know that was kind of a little tangent, like off base a little bit, but that's kind of what I'm getting at with Chubba is like, you could have said no to the keg stands and maybe you'd be starting right now. You know what I mean? I just want us to have a good passing game eventually. We got to have quarterbacks. Hate seeing teams like Wake throw it with ease, and we have to scheme up so much. Need a gym to come in and change the narrative. Gotta get quarterbacks. 6 to 7 wins next year, maybe 8 is the ceiling. Well, we got to see how that roster pans out. I think it's too early to call that, because you don't know what you're gonna like. You don't know what you're gonna get in the portal. You still don't know how this class ends up. You know, I think it's a little bit too early to call that. There's some obvious growth on this team that I don't think we can overlook. POLK, the flu is going through the team. Do you think it'll hurt? I did hear something about a bug going around the team. I guess we'll have to wait and see who's missing. As long as some of our big time guys aren't missing, NC State's going to be a tough game regardless. That quarterback they have, and y'all know how we do against opposing quarterbacks. It's really the theme of this team. That quarterback, they throw a lot of short stuff, but he does a decent job of getting the ball to his playmakers. So we're gonna have to try to contain him. He's a passer, but we're gonna have to try to limit that, and if we can put pressure on him, maybe cause some turnovers. But NC State's a solid team. These kids are grown; they know what they're doing, and that was NIL out there. Looks, yeah, that's true. Especially with the NIL stuff, like these kids aren't dumb anymore. Truth, trust me, dog. If I were that young and eating grits for breakfast, lunch for dinner, I'm coming for that number 1 spot on the team. Ain't no playing around. Not everybody has the mentality though, no power. And it's not a knock on Chubba Purdy, but you can look at Chubba Purdy and you can look at his family and his brother's Brock Purdy at Iowa State with the potential to be drafted in this year's upcoming draft. He's more privileged. Chubba Purdy wasn't eating grits for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'll say that. So for him, his outlook on the situation is a little bit more different. Not saying he doesn't love football, not saying he doesn't live football, but football's a bit of a luxury for Chubba Purdy, whereas somebody from a different background, football is a way out. You understand there's different mentalities there. Who would have thought our last QB was Winston? We had Florida State. Why the F can't we get a good QB? Dropping the ball in recruiting, man. That's what I'm saying. That's why you can't tell me Purdy's not a big deal. That's why you can't tell me Purdy's not a big deal, because you have to recruit him. That portal crap doesn't. I'm not saying it doesn't work. You can get a portal guy every now and then, but it's because Halloween. Literally, everyone in Tallahassee's dead right now. Chubba Purdy was eating steak for dinner. Absolutely. The more I look at Duffy's tape, he definitely needs time in the pocket to make decisions. Have to surround him with solid blockers. Have to train his accuracy as well. Again, he's a good prospect. He's got tools and some intangibles, but Duffy's gonna need a year of seasoning. Now, I'm pretty sure they're selling Duffy that, hey, we're gonna give you a legit shot to win this job year 1. And we'll see how he takes to spring and coaching in spring and all of that stuff. I do think the offensive line will continue to improve. I think it's going to be a markedly better unit next year. One, we should be adding a lot of depth. Two, as long as guys like Robert Scott and Darius Washington, Maurice Smith, those three guys are legit coming back. Gibbons should be back. I know he has another year of eligibility, but he's expressed he said when he came here, he has 2 years of eligibility, but he has things other than football. So we'll see where Gibbons goes with that. But we know we're bringing those three back for sure. And all three have played well this year. Have they been perfect? No. But they're all young. I mean, Scott is he's legitimately only been here. He was a legit true freshman last year. Darius Washington, I think he's listed as a freshman, but he's one of those super 3-year freshmen, and so is Maurice Smith. But they're still young enough and have a ton of eligibility left that they, I think, will be a better unit. The question is going to be, where do we fit? Who do we fit in at the guards next year? Let's take Garcia from you, and we need a backup QB and future punter. Stop it. Would you get a transfer from the portal now? Maybe senior with one more year? Honestly, no. And I think there's going to be a lot of differencing opinions on that. I know a lot of people are going to say yes. But I think we got to stop trying to put a Band-Aid on the quarterbacks, man. I thought Milton was worth low risk, high gain type of chance, just because with some of the transfers they brought in, like a Jermaine and a Kier, I think they were really kind of trying to gear to winning in this year. But it didn't work. And at this point, again, you got Duffy, hopefully, right? I keep saying, and the only reason I keep saying hopefully, not because I'm hearing anything, not because I think he's leaving. He hasn't signed yet. So until he signs, it's all hopeful, right? But you got Duffy. Jordan Travis is your transfer quarterback, in my opinion. Again, this guy's a 4-year, he's been in college 4 years, and he has another 3 years of eligibility. At this point, rock with that and get me 2 high school quarterbacks, and we can just develop them from there. Because at this point, you keep trying to throw Band-Aids. One guys with 1 or 2 years eligibility doesn't. I don't think it's healthy for the quarterback room. Just read Duffy is leaving IMG mid-season. Isn't that so? What's up, James? Appreciate you coming on, Polk, because this one hurt a little. Was having a good day, and I'm going home with wings for. Yo, what's good, everybody? Why is Duffy leaving IMG? That's interesting too. I gotta look up at that, see what's going on there. But Courtney Walker, what up? But I mean, yeah, that was all. What more can we say? But Purdy's out of here, and no, we never really got to see what we had in him. But I don't think that you can just dismiss I don't think you can just dismiss him as like, oh, well, we didn't get that. Same way people were telling me to just dismiss Brian Robinson. I'm like, bro, FSU's not in a position to be losing talent, especially at receiver and quarterback. That's why I was so high, or that's why I was upset about Brian Robinson transferring out. I was like, come on. We don't need to be some of y'all just dismiss talent. Like, it's like, get another guy. Well, that hasn't been the case lately, has it? You know? So I don't like just dismissing talent like, oh, well, Purdy's gone. Oh, well, you know, there's a million Chubba Purdys out there, and there might be a million Chubba Purdys out there. But when Chubba Purdy goes to wherever he goes, and all of a sudden we're like, damn, y'all are going to look back on this and say, we really was like pushing Chubba out the door, and then he finally left, and bam, here we are. Same thing with Brian Robinson. But then again, they can go somewhere, and we never hear from him again as well. So I wouldn't read too much into it. A lot of players leave IMG mid-season and return to their hometown school. Well, I always talk about IMG is one of those unique. IMG is not in a lot of ways. It's not even a high school. IMG is a legit junior college. To be like, and it does happen to a lot of kids. A lot of kids go to IMG and end up leaving mid-season and all that stuff because a lot of politics at a place like IMG. Purdy's going to TAMU and become the number one pick. Exactly. We need talent. Feel like he's taking over his brother's spot. He might. We'll see where he goes. We'll see where he goes. You know, he's going to go to Iowa State, and there's not going to be any questions, right? He's going to be the guy day one. Most likely. He'll be the guy day one. So we'll see where he goes. I just don't scoff at the idea of losing talent. Like if, you know, losing 4-star talent, what Chubba Purdy was, what Brian Robinson was. Like, you know, I just don't think it's just that simple. Especially, you know, if we lost the DB, I'd be less concerned. Because even in FSU's bad times here recently, for the last 4 or 5 years that we've been down, they've still recruited DBs fairly well. So for me, you lose a DB, okay, not mad at that. But when we talk about this team, every weekend I get on here Saturday and we talk about how, man, we needed some more explosive wide receivers. Man, we need better linebacking play. Man, I wish we had, you know, other quarterbacks we can throw out there besides Travis and Milton. Like, obviously, lack of talent at key positions on this team, and those are the positions that guys are transferring out of. You know, it's hard. And people come on here and just dismiss it like, oh, well. So that's where I'm at with it, guys. But I did my little hour. Purdy's in the portal, and we'll see where he ends up. We'll see what Florida State does with this quarterback situation. But yeah, I don't know. No more really to be said. Purdy's gone, and unless they can talk to him and, you know, until he transfers somewhere, maybe they can talk to him and get him to figure this thing out. I don't know. I doubt it. He already released his little note. You know, that note they release when they leave. I probably won't be going live for the fight this weekend because I think I'm gonna record the fight. I don't even think I'm gonna watch it live because I got some other stuff I got to take care of. DF. But yeah, bad news Wednesday. But according to some people, it's not a big deal. They never thought Purdy was any good, and they don't think it's a big deal. So we all got our opinions, and we'll see who's in. You know, it's not necessarily about being right or wrong, but, you know, we'll see how this thing. We'll see how this thing comes full circle. Like, you know, we'll see what happens in the future. But I'm gonna head out here, get to work. Catch y'all next time. It's your boy POLK over here on 863 Seminole TV. As always, try to stay classy, Seminoles, and keep your head up. Maybe the bright part of this year was our little 3-game winning streak. Who knows? We'll see. But try to keep your head up, man. And we got you, man. Go Noles. See y'all. Maybe Probably not today. Tomorrow, we'll try to do a little NC State preview. So we'll probably see y'all tomorrow. Do a little NC State preview. And I'll holler at y'all, man.